Welcome back to Children's Church. I'm so glad to have you here with me. And all this month we're talking about God's promises, our plans. We're starting in the book of Genesis, and we're talking about a guy named Abraham, one of those. It's going to change in the story. So we're in the book of Genesis, and we're in chapter 12. It's called The Call of Abram. The Lord said to Abram, "Go out from your land, your relatives, and your father's house, to the land that I will show you. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you, I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, I will curse those who treat you with contempt, and all the peoples on the earth will be blessed through you." So Abraham went as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he left Haran. He took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, and all the possessions they had accumulated, and people they had acquired in Haran, and they set out for the land of Canaan. When they came to the land of Canaan, Abram passed through the site at the oak of Morah at the time the Canaanites were in the land. And the Lord appeared to Abram and said, "I will give this land to your offspring." So he built an altar there to the Lord who had appeared to him. From there he moved on to the hill country east of Bethel, and pitched his tent with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east, and built an altar to Yahweh there. And he called on the name of Yahweh, and then Abraham journeyed by stages to Negev. There was a famine in the land, so Abram went down to Egypt. Egypt went down to Abram, one of those. When he was about to enter Egypt, he said to his wife, this is a long story, we're going to skip forward a little bit. So we're jumping forward to chapter 15. This is about Abram moving around, doing lots of stuff. Some of it's stupid, as one does. No one's perfect. When we jump to chapter 15, it says the Abrahamic covenant. After these events, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. "Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield, and your reward will be very great." But Abram said, "Lord God, what can you give to me, since I am childless, and the heir of my house is Eleazar of Damascus? Look, you've given me no children, so a slave born in my house will be my heir." Now the word of the Lord came to him, "This one will not be your heir, instead one who comes from you." He took him outside and said, "Look at the sky and count the stars if you are able. Your offspring will be that numerous." Abram believed the Lord, and he credited it to him as righteousness. Then he said, "I am Yahweh who brought you from Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land to possess." But he said, "Lord God, how can I know that I will possess it?" He said, "Bring me a 3-year-old cow, a 3-year-old goat, a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon." It's a very specific list. That's the weirdest shopping list I've ever heard. So he brought all these to him, split down the middle, and laid the pieces opposite each other, but did not cut up the birds. Birds of prey came down to the offerings, but Abram drove them away. Then the Lord said to Abram, "Know this for certain, your offspring will not be foreigners in a land that does not belong to them. They will be enslaved and oppressed for 100 years. However, I will judge the nation they serve, and afterwards they will go on with many possessions. But you will go to your fathers in peace and be buried at a ripe old age. In the 4th generation they will return here, for the iniquity of the Amorites has not yet reached its full measure." When the sun had set and it was dark, a smoking firepot and a flaming torch appeared and passed between the divided animals. On that day, the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, "I give this land to your offspring." Now, at his covenant, God changed their names from Abram and Sarai to Abraham and Sarah. Now, it's because their names had different meanings. And God had a plan for them. He needed them to understand by what they were called that he had a more important plan for them than they could imagine for themselves. So they became Abraham and Sarah, which means father and princess. He needed them to see themselves differently, to understand what God was going to do with them and for them. Now you guys, if you've been in Sunday school a long time, you've probably heard the song Father Abraham, because we know that his descendants became the nation of Israel. They do, in fact, number the stars. God had a plan for Abraham, and it takes like 6 chapters to get through. I don't know if you guys have read Genesis, but that's a long time for Genesis. Abraham went through a lot, but through all of it, he had God's promise and God's plan. God said to him, by himself in his own words, I am your shield. You are going to be all right. And all throughout God's plans, God is with us. Every step of the way, every bump, every twist, every turn. God, when he makes a promise, he has a plan for us. And that's what we're going to talk about all this month. Wonderful talking to you all again, and I will see you next week.